They're so strong. Yes, good job. Such playful pups.
The planet Karax did not forgive weakness. Its red grasses were sharp enough to slice unprotected skin. Its skies burned copper at dawn and bruised purple by nightfall. Storms rolled across the plains like living things, carrying static that could stop a human heart and winds that stripped flesh from bone. And the predators of Karax were worse. They were born knowing how to kill. The Varun, apex hunters of the planet, ruled the plains in tightly bonded packs. They stood taller than humans, broad-shouldered, furred and dark slate in rust, with eyes like molten amber. Their claws were curved for tearing, their jaws built to crush armor. But it was not their strength that made them feared across the sector. It was their culture. Varun society was built on dominance. From the moment a cub could walk, it learned to fight. Sparring was constant. Mercy was discouraged. Weakness was a flaw to be burned away or cold. Only the strongest survived. That was the rule. And today, under a dying orange sun, two cubs were fighting to the death. They were barely half-grown, their limbs still awkward, fur patchy in places. Blood darkened the dust beneath them as they circled, snarling, claws flexing. The pack watched in silence. No interference, no mercy. Because this was how Varun learned who deserved to live. Except one outsider. She stood at the edge of the clearing, human boots sinking slightly into the blood-soaked soil, heart pounding so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. Dr. Lyra Hale, human xenobiologist, civilian liaison, the only human allowed to live among the Varun pack of the Ash Plains. And she was about to break every rule that kept her alive. Lyra had arrived on Karax 3 cycles ago, assigned by the Interstellar Coalition to observe Varun behavior and report on their suitability to alliance. Most believed the mission was pointless. The Varun were known as raiders, enforcers, shock troops used by stronger empires when brutality was required. No one trusted them. No one wanted peace with a species that glorified bloodshed. Lyra had volunteered anyway. Not because she believed the Varun were misunderstood, but because she believed no species was born cruel. She had lived among the pack carefully, quietly. She learned their gestures, their tones, the way their ears flattened before violence and lifted before respect. She accepted their suspicion, their tests, their constant watchfulness. She earned tolerance, not trust. Never trust. And now she stood watching 2 cubs tear at each other while adults observed without emotion. One cub was larger, broader, already showing the thick neck of a future alpha. His strikes were heavy, confident. The other was smaller. Faster, yes, but thinner. His left foreleg dragged slightly, injured earlier in the fight. Every instinct in Lyra screamed. She remembered the rules. Do not interfere in Varun dominance rituals. Do not touch cubs without permission. Do not step between combatants. Violation meant death. She swallowed. The smaller cub stumbled. The larger one lunged, claws raised. The killing blow. Lyra moved. She didn't think. She didn't plan. She stepped forward and placed herself between them. The world stopped. Gasps rippled through the pack. Low snarls rose instantly. Dozens of heads snapped toward her. Claws scraped against stone as warriors shifted, ready to tear her apart. The larger cub skidded to a halt, confused, snarling inches from her chest. The smaller cub collapsed behind her, wheezing. Lyra raised her hands slowly. Her voice shook, but it carried. Enough. Silence. Then a sound that made her blood run cold. A deep, resonant growl rolled across the clearing. The alpha had risen. He was massive, even for a Varun. Alpha Koroth bore scars across his muzzle and chest, white lines etched into dark fur. One ear was torn. One horn-like crest was cracked at the tip. His eyes burned with intelligence sharpened by decades of survival. He'd killed rivals, led hunts, broken enemies. and now a fragile human stood defying the oldest law of his species. He stepped forward. Each footfall sent vibrations through the ground. Lyra felt every instinct urging her to kneel, to submit, to beg. She didn't. She forced herself to meet his gaze. The Alpha stopped less than a meter away. His shadow swallowed her. "You challenge the law of the pack," Koroth rumbled, translator implant rendering his voice into guttural human speech. "You challenge me." Lyra's throat tightened. "I challenge death," she said quietly, "not you." Murmurs rippled through the pack. The Alpha's eyes flicked past her to the injured cub. "Only the strong survive," he said. "This one is weak." Lyra shook her head. "He is wounded, not weak." The Alpha tilted his head. "A wound reveals weakness." "Or resilience," Lyra replied. "You test strength by killing your children. Humans test it by seeing who stands back up." The larger cub snarled, trying to push past her. Lyra didn't move. She felt the Alpha's gaze bore into her. "You would risk your life for one who is not your blood," the Alpha said. "Yes," Lyra answered immediately. That answer, so fast, so absolute, made something shift in the Alpha's eyes. "Why?" Lyra exhaled shakily. "Because survival without compassion only creates monsters, and because if you kill every cub who stumbles, one day there will be no one left to lead." Silence returned. Wind brushed through the red grass. The Alpha turned his gaze fully on the injured cub. The cub lifted his head, bloodied muzzle trembling, but eyes bright with defiance. Not fear, defiance. The Alpha stared for a long moment. Then he did something no Varun Alpha had done in recorded history. He raised one claw and lowered it. "Stand," he commanded the injured cub. The cub struggled, fell, stood again. The Alpha watched closely. Finally, he turned back to Lyra. "Remove yourself," he said. "The trial is not finished." Lyra swallowed. "No," she said. A shocked hiss spread through the pack. She turned slightly, shielding the cub behind her. "If he fights again, he dies. Let him heal. Let him fight later." Koroth's lips curled back, exposing massive fangs. "You give commands in my pack?" Lyra met his gaze, heart hammering. "I give reasons," she said. "You decide." The Alpha studied her. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed, a deep, thunderous sound that startled everyone. "Human, you are either the bravest creature I have ever seen, or the most foolish." "Both," Lyra admitted. Koroth's laughter faded. "Very well," he said. "The fight ends." The pack erupted. Outrage, confusion, disbelief, but none challenged him. The Alpha turned to the larger cub. "You will live, but you will remember this interruption." Then to the injured cub, "You will heal, and when you are ready, you will fight again." The Alpha's gaze returned to Lyra. "And you," he said softly, "will answer for this." Lyra expected punishment, exile, execution, a slow ceremonial death. Instead, she was watched, constantly. Warriors followed her movements, elders whispered, cubs stared at her with wide, curious eyes. The injured cub, whom she later learned was named Reth, was moved to a protected den. Against tradition, he was given time to heal. Lyra visited him daily. She cleaned his wounds with medical gel, wrapped his leg, spoke softly even though she didn't understand her words. He understood her presence. Reth's recovery was slow, but steady, and something else began to change. Other cubs started to hesitate during fights. They didn't strike as hard. They looked toward the Alpha, uncertain. The pack was uneasy. Alpha Koroth noticed everything. One night, under a sky filled with fractured stars, he summoned Lyra to the high ridge. "You have disrupted balance," he said. "I know," Lyra replied. Why do you remain unafraid? She considered the question. Because fear doesn't build futures, it only preserves the past. The alpha stared across the plains. Our past made us strong. It also made you feared and alone. Silence stretched. Finally, Koroth spoke. When I was a cub, I killed my littermate. Lyra's breath caught. He was slower, kinder. I was ordered to fight. I obeyed. His claws clenched. I became alpha, but I never forgot his eyes. He turned to her. You reminded me that strength can choose restraint. The alpha made another unprecedented decision. He declared a new trial, not a fight to the death, a test of endurance. Reth healed fully. When his trial came, he faced the same cub who had nearly